Good morning, Bellefonte. With the senior ball coming up on Saturday night, today we're going to take a look at the mock accident that was performed on Monday, along with the arrest and arraignment of the suspected DUI driver.
All right, Mr. Fitzgerald, I'm Judge Gillette Walker. You're in front of me this morning for a preliminary arraignment. Officer Lyons has brought you in on some very serious charges. What I'm going to do is I'm going to review the charges that he's filed against you, explain the elements required of each charge, what you're alleged to have done, and the maximum penalty associated with each charge. After that, I will schedule your preliminary hearing, go over your rights with that, talk about an attorney. After that, I will give you your fingerprint order and explain that, and then finally I will set bail, as I'm required to do in every misdemeanor or felony case in Pennsylvania. Here is your preliminary arraignment notice that just explains that we're doing your arraignment today at this time. And as I stated, you've been charged by Officer Lyons of the Bellefonte Police Department for an offense alleged to have occurred on May 2nd, 2016 in the borough of Bellefonte in Center County. You have been charged with one count of homicide by vehicle. The elements of that offense are that with recklessly or with gross negligence, you caused the death of another person while engaged in a violation of any law of this Commonwealth or municipal ordinance applying to the operation, use of a vehicle, or the regulation of traffic. And you are charged with causing the death of two individuals and seriously injuring two individuals while having a blood alcohol content of 0.165% and driving on the 800 block of East Bishop Street. That's a felony of the second degree that carries a maximum penalty of up to 10 years in prison and $25,000 in fines. Count 2 is aggravated assault by vehicle. The elements of the offense are that with reckless or gross negligence, you cause serious bodily injury to another person while engaged in the violation of any law of this Commonwealth or municipal ordinance applying to the operation or use of a vehicle or to the regulation of traffic. And you are charged with driving a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol content of 0.165% while being under the age of 21 years of age and causing the death of an individual as a result of a motor vehicle accident. That's also graded as a felony of the second degree, so that also carries a maximum penalty of up to 10 years in prison and $25,000 in fines. Count 4 is driving under the influence of alcohol or a controlled substance. The elements of that offense are that you may not drive, operate, or be in the actual physical control of the movement of a vehicle after imbibing a sufficient amount of alcohol such that you are rendered incapable of safely driving, operating, or being in actual physical control of the movement of a vehicle. You are charged with driving a motor vehicle while being under the age of 21 with having a blood alcohol content of greater than 0.16%. That's a misdemeanor of the first degree. That carries a maximum penalty of up to 5 years in prison and $10,000 in fines. Count 4 is driving under the influence of alcohol, highest rate. The elements of that offense are that you may not drive, operate, or be in the actual physical control of the movement of a vehicle after imbibing a sufficient amount of alcohol such that the alcohol concentration in your blood is greater than 0.16% or higher within 2 hours after you've last driven, operated, or been in actual physical control of the movement of a vehicle. And you are charged with driving on the 800 block of East Bishop Street with having a BAC of 0.165% and being involved in an automobile accident that killed 2 people and seriously injured 2. That is an ungraded misdemeanor that carries a maximum penalty of up to 1 year in prison and $2,500 in fines. Count 5 is driving under the influence of alcohol as a minor. The elements of that offense are that being under the age of 21, you may not drive, operate, or be in actual physical control of the movement of a vehicle after imbibing a sufficient amount of alcohol such that the alcohol concentration in your blood is 0.02% or higher within 2 hours after driving, operating, or being in actual physical control of the movement of a vehicle. And you are charged with being under the age of 21 and having a blood alcohol content of 0.165%. That is an ungraded misdemeanor that carries a maximum penalty of up to 1 year in prison and $2,500 in fines. Count 6 is underage drinking, otherwise known as purchase, consumption, possession, or transportation of liquor or malt or brewed beverages. The elements of the offense are that if you are less than 21 years of age, you attempt to purchases, consumes, possesses, or knowingly and intentionally transports any liquor or malt or brewed beverage, and you are charged with consuming alcohol or liquor or malt or brewed beverage and being under the age of 21 and having a blood alcohol content of 0.165%. That's a summary offense that carries a maximum penalty of up to 90 days in prison and $1,000 in fines. Count 7 is minor prohibited from operating with any alcohol in your system. The elements of that offense are that a minor shall not drive, operate, or be in actual physical control of a motor vehicle while having any alcohol in his system. You are charged with driving a car on the 800 block of East Bishop Street with a blood alcohol content of 0.165%. That is a summary offense that carries a maximum penalty of up to 90 days in prison and $100 in fines. Count 7 is careless driving. The elements of that offense are that if you drive a vehicle in careless disregard for the safety of persons or property, and if you unintentionally cause the death of another person as a result of careless driving. You are charged with driving a motor vehicle on the 800 block of East Bishop Street with a blood alcohol content of 0.165% and causing the death of 2 people and serious bodily injury of 2 people. So you have 4 counts of careless driving. That carries a maximum penalty of up to 90 days in prison and a $500 fine on each count. Count 8 is reckless driving. The elements of that offense are that if you drive any vehicle in willful or wanton disregard for the safety of persons or property, you are charged with driving a vehicle on the 800 block of East Bishop Street, causing an automobile accident with a blood alcohol content of 0.165% and killing 2 people and seriously injuring 2 others. That carries a maximum penalty of up to 90 days in prison and $200 in fines. Do you understand the charges against you, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Here is your copy of the charges. Now, your preliminary hearing is going to be held on May 4th. It will be in the Center County Court of Common Pleas in the main courtroom, which is courtroom number 1. It will be at 8:30 in the morning. At the preliminary hearing, the Commonwealth has to prove a prima facie case against you. What that means is that they have to prove that a crime was committed and that you are probably the person that did it. Here's your notice of the preliminary hearing. You have many rights at the preliminary hearing. You have the right to be represented by a lawyer. You have the right to cross-examine or question witnesses and inspect physical evidence that the Commonwealth offers against you. You have the right to testify in your own defense, call witnesses to testify on your behalf, and offer your own physical evidence in your defense. And finally, you have the right to make written or recorded notes of everything that is said during the hearing, which is more commonly known as a transcript. Do you understand your rights at the preliminary hearing?
Yes.
Okay. Now, once you get up to the jail, they will have a public defender application for you. You will need to fill that out and turn it in as soon as possible. Do not wait until Wednesday to ask for an attorney, whether it's a public defender or a private attorney that you hire on your own, because at that point, they will not have enough time to sit down with you, go over the facts of your case, and properly prepare your defense. It benefits you to get an attorney sooner rather than later. Also, if you've been represented by the public defender's office for any other case, you still need to fill out a new application for each new set of charges that are filed against you. Finally, sir, we have the issue of bail. As I stated earlier, it's required in every misdemeanor or felony case in Pennsylvania. And in your case, I am setting bail at $500,000 straight, which means you would need to post the full $500,000 or hire a bail bondsman to post it on your behalf. There's information on bail bondsmen at the jail. If you're interested in one of them, you can get that information at the jail. If you are able to post bail, there are several conditions that you will have to follow in order to stay out of jail and not lose any money that you've posted. The first condition is that you have to appear for court at all times until your case is fully and finally disposed of. That means until the charges would be withdrawn, you would be found not guilty, or you would be sentenced after either pleading guilty or being found guilty of something. You must obey all further orders of the bail authority. I have imposed a few extra conditions. The first condition is that you shall not enter any establishment that serves or sells alcohol, and you shall not possess, consume, or transport any alcohol. You must surrender any passport or visa immediately to the Center County Prothonotary. You must provide a current address, and if you move from that address, you must notify someone who works within the court system of your new address within 48 hours of moving. All of the people that you would need to notify are listed on the bail bond, and it's also something your lawyer could do for you. You may not intimidate or harass any alleged victims or witnesses in this case. Officer Lyons can explain that a little further to you. That would include any of the people that were injured, or their families, or the families of the people that were killed. You must refrain from further criminal activity, and you must comply with the fingerprint order. Do you understand bail?
Yes.
Okay. There is a fingerprint order here. Officer Lyons is going to take you up to the jail, where you will be fingerprinted and photographed and booked into the jail until and unless you make bail. Officer Lyons, here's the commitment for the jail.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck to you, Mr. Fitzgerald. We'll see you in court on the 4th.
What you just saw was an arraignment of a student that made some poor choices that evening. He didn't only affect his life and his family's life, he also affected the lives of the people that he hurt, injured very seriously, and that are no longer with us. 2 students died in the accident, and they can never come back to school again. Their families are affected. Your whole school is affected by this. This whole community would be affected, and for years to come. So when you're out there during your dance, have fun, be safe, and please don't add alcohol into the mix. We want everybody to come home. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Bellefonte, for watching this presentation. It is important that you remember that your choices don't just affect you, but they affect those around you. Have a safe and fun prom season.